So I'm just gonna share a story, a very personal story with you in this video. I haven't really come up with any answers. There's a couple of like ahas in here, like, you know, whoosh, answers, but like not really. I don't know how else to explain it. But okay, so here's what happened. A woman that I used to work with called me to see if I would cover one of her bar shifts. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I would love to do that. So I did. And this was a Saturday afternoon. It was gonna be like a 4 or 5 hour shift, you know, nothing crazy. And so leading up, like the 2 days prior, you know, I mean, like I wasn't drinking any alcohol. I made sure I got my exercise on, got good sleep. I mean, I did everything to make sure that to increase the likelihood that it was gonna go perfectly as it could. And, you know, and I started getting nervous and I was realizing it's like, this is all I know and I've done. And I mean, I love bartending. I love this whole world. I wasn't nervous because of that. I was nervous because of my Parkinson's symptoms and them acting up when I was behind the bar. March of 2020 was the last time that I had been behind a bar. So actually 2 years had passed. You know, I was starting to get really anxious and nervous. All I have is my word, and I'm not gonna commit to do something for somebody if I can't come through. And so like that would just be devastating if I was gonna not be able, you know, if I was there and not able to do my job. I mean, that just would have been the worst. You know, the day comes and it could not have gone any better. I was just on cloud 9. I mean, it felt so good to be behind the bar again, pouring pints of beer, saying hello to people, just doing my thing that like I know. And so going back to that quote where, you know, your job does not define who you are. And so I know that this is true, but like what really hit me was that it's the world, I think, that you're in career-wise that does. To some extent, it's like, you know, if you're an engineer, you know, you're in a world of engineering, and, you know, despite whatever type of engineering you're doing, it's like that is your world. Your social sphere, your professional sphere. Like there's just different extensions that come from that world. But then the next day, what was so painful was the fact that it did go so good. It was like I could taste it just all over again, and it was close, and it was here, and I was in, you know, I was in it. And the interesting thing to me is that leading up to it, I had only been concerned about what if things go wrong, right? Like in preparing myself like mentally and emotionally and trying to come up with some, you know, like if my old tricks don't work, is there anything else you might be able to do? You know, my mind was focused on what if something goes wrong. My mind didn't for a second contemplate how are you going to feel if it goes beautifully and it goes perfectly. You know, like it didn't even think about that, because the next day, you know, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and like my mind just kind of like starts racing. You know, it was just like, I mean, I left there, I was so happy, but it just starts racing. I'm like, oh, you can open up another bar again. You can maybe cover shifts. Maybe you can open up a little pop-up, you know, bar, or just, you know, I mean, I just start like racing with all these ideas, and I'm just like, oh, wait, you know, just hold your horses there. And it's like, you know, no. It's like, I know how stressful the bar ownership, restaurant ownership is. It's just like, no, like I don't think I can have that kind of stress in my life right now. I say that, maybe I could, I don't know. Just, you don't want that stress in your life now. You've already been there, done that, and it's no fun. But yeah, on Sunday, you know, I decided I wanted to write, you know, I was a bartender again for one day, and I was gonna write like a little blog, and I just couldn't even type. The tears just started flowing. I mean, it was just, I was so heartbroken. And then I was like trying to figure out why was I so sad? And it was like, what I realized is it's like, it's the world. It's that world that I love and I miss so much. And even though I can go to bars and I can go to restaurants and I can do all of those things, it's different when you're on the other side, when you're on the customer side, versus being behind the bar. It's just not the same. It's like I still have friends who are in that world, so I can still hear all of their, you know, stories, but it's just when you're not in it, you're not in it. And I think what ultimately ended up just hurting so much was almost like, because I had, you know, the pandemic hit, and then it was just like bars shut down for now, right? And so it was like the decision was kind of thrust on me, and I was like, you know what? This is perhaps just meant to be. You know, focus on your videos, your YouTube channel, and you know, maybe it's time that you just walk away from the bar industry. And so it was okay. But then I never even really thought about getting back into it until I was back into it again. And then reality of having Parkinson's disease and my own limitations really set in, and I felt like what I was doing on that Sunday in tears and crying was essentially saying goodbye, you know, officially to a world that I love and that I've loved and I've been part of for a long time. And like any world, you know, like that we're in, you know, there are good and there's the bad too, you know. And it was interesting, and I didn't expect to feel the way that I felt the next day, you know, having not even thought about, well, what would you feel like if it went well? Because I was so focused on what if the bad happens. You know, it's just our minds are just so fascinating. The way they operate, the way they don't cooperate, and like, yeah, just depending on the way you perceive things and the questions that you ask, and then sometimes the surprise feelings that come along that you just don't even expect, and the, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what is it that's making you feel this way, really, you know, and yeah. So I don't really have any answers quite yet. I mean, I'm still processing it, and like, I feel like that's essentially it, you know, that I was there, I'm no longer part of that world. It was like super high, cloud nine, then, you know, the next day it's just like no more, you know, you're really not in that world anymore. It was just kind of like a one-time cover my shift deal, and, you know, could you ever really do it again in the future? And, you know, walking away when you're, you know, on the top, you know, not walking away, you know, when you're at the bottom of your game, you know, just all that stuff. So anyways, thank you for listening, and, you know, as always, I subscribe to the channel, comment if you have. I would love to hear what any of you, if you've had similar experiences, if you're having a hard time walking away from something, or if you have, and if you miss it, or if you don't, those types of things. So thank you.
$4.50.
It's $4.84. It's $4.50 plus tax.
Okay, so
Yep.
$5 will cover it.
It totally covers it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
What'd you say that was called?
What the fuck?
What is that?
So they actually, it's called WTF, but like on their tap handle. So it's like, it's kind of it's implied and it's known that it's what the fuck, but on their tap handle it says Wilco Tango Foxtrot.
What, Lagunitas?
By Lagunitas, that's the brewery. You're not videotaping this, are you?
Of course not.
Why is it pointing at me then? It's like literally like.
I'm still alive and kicking, so it's gotta happen.
Do you want me to bring this?